Hey folks, what's up? Lex here, and today I want to talk to you about a mobile game. That's right, a mobile game. Stick with me here because I think you're going to want to know about Retro Bowl. But on Twitter, I was going through my timeline and basically my friends kept talking about this game called Retro Bowl. Now at first it didn't look very impressive to me. Obviously it was this kind of 8-bit football game. Looked a little bit like Tecmo Bowl. And I was kind of like, well, I have Tecmo Bowl on NES, I have it on DS, I have it on the Xbox. Like, do I really need Tecmo Bowl on my phone? But on the Press Row podcast, which is one of my favorite podcasts to listen to, they were actually talking in depth about the game, and it sounded like the game had a bunch of depth itself. So I decided to download it and see what it's all about, and I'm very glad that I did. Now let me state this flat out right here in the beginning. This is a Tecmo Bowl ripoff, but it is a good Tecmo Bowl ripoff. This plays almost identical to Tecmo Bowl. You have your 2D side-scrolling view, you have the 8-bit characters, you have stiff arms, and all that kind of stuff. It plays very similar to that, just with different controls. Now, you're not playing defense, all you're doing is playing offense. You don't select the plays are selected for you. You can choose to run or pass. If you want to run, you have to click on the running back to initiate the running play. You can swipe up to move your player up, or swipe down to move your player down on the field. You can run with the quarterback if you want to. Passing is using this slingshot type of function, very similar to how they did it in New Star Soccer, where you pull back on this little arrow and let go, and that's the pass trajectory. It actually works extremely well. You can lead receivers, and your receivers will go after the ball. It's just really well done for a mobile game. The kicking in the game is very simple, but it's actually challenging. You have to take into consideration the wind, and your player's stats really do matter. There are a few times where I had to play a couple of games without my starters, and those were games that I usually either lost or came very close to losing, especially when my running back was out of the game. Essentially, if you have to use your backup running back, you have no run game. The backup running back is just so slow that there's no sense in running. Also, stamina affects speed, it affects quarterback's passing throughout the game. It's very dynamic. Players have stats that you can level up, and they earn XP as they play well in games, and then you get to select which piece of their attributes gets leveled up next with each level they increase. And that adds strategy to how you draft players. Maybe there's a player who is better right now, but he'll never get any better, as opposed to a player who has a lot more potential than the player who's ready to play right now. How are you going to decide all of that? That's up to you. There's free agency, there's the draft, there are trades, and you'll get trade notifications from other teams throughout the season. You can sign offensive and defensive coordinators, and they have their own traits. There's a salary cap that you have to take into consideration when you're signing players. You have to stay under the salary cap. Really, there are only a few players on your team who really matter, at least at first. The rest are just kind of filler, like bronze players in All-Pro Football or something like that. The rest are the players you have to focus on and level up and decide if you want to continue using this guy, if he's really worth it to try and level him up, or if you want to trade him or cut him so you can draft somebody better. So the game itself is free to download, but that only gets you 5 trial games that you can play in the season. After those 5 games are up, you basically have to buy the full version. But here's the tremendous part about this. The full version, the price to unlock that, $1. That's right, just $1 to unlock the full game. There are microtransactions in this game, but they're very inoffensive. We're talking like $1 or $2 to earn coach credits. Coach credits allow you to upgrade facilities and sign free agents and coaches and stuff like that. They're not super necessary. You can earn enough coaching credit in the game just playing it normally, but they're there if you want to speed the process along. And honestly, I would just buy them to support the developer, because this game is worth way more than $1. I've put at least an hour into the game, probably more. Each game only takes a couple of minutes, 2 minutes per quarter. You score enough to have realistic scores. It's not just 0 to 3 every single game. And you pretty much have to score almost every single drive in order to have a chance at winning the game, because you don't see the other team's offense at work, but if they're a solid team, your defense, in the beginning at least, is pretty poor that they're going to score almost every single time. One of the problems I have with the game is there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of challenge. In fact, early on, I was like 7-1, and I didn't really feel like I was going to lose, but in the second half of the season, my players' morale started to go down, the fans' morale started to go down, we started getting injuries that really affected how our team played, and we ended up losing, I think, a total of 6 games, which for a team that was a 3-win team the previous season really wasn't, a whole lot of games to lose. But we made the playoffs, we made it to the championship game, the conference championship game. We weren't able to win that game, so I have something to play for in the next season. As a coach, you get job offers from other teams at the end of the season, which you can take or leave. I started with the New York Giants team. They're not technically the Giants in the game because there's no NFL properties, but I started with the Giants. I really don't want to be with the Giants, but after my first season, I was offered a few jobs. None of them were worth abandoning the team that I had put this much time into already, so I'm sticking with the Giants for another season. We'll see how that goes. Really, I do worry that the game will become super easy in Season 2, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Another quick thing I want to mention is how deep the systems can be in this game. It's not anything to the point of maybe a full text sim on the PC or anything like that, but there are systems in play, like your training facility is going to affect how much XP your players gain. Your rehab facility is going to affect how quickly they come back from injuries. Improving your stadium is going to affect fan morale, which gives you coaching credits to spend in the game the more you win. So it really all affects one another. You'll also have decisions that you have to make in between games, like punishments for certain players. Some players will get caught with drugs and you'll have to figure out how you want to discipline them. Some players will even be caught playing Retro Bowl in a team meeting, so you have to figure out what you want to do there. What's the lesser of the two evils for the punishment? And that all affects one another to the point where it might not seem like it affects much at first, but as you go deeper into the season, that's when you really experience how this is all impacting your team. But that's about all I want to say about Retro Bowl. I'd rather you jump in and experience it for yourself. Again, it's free to download and it's only $1 to unlock the full version. Everybody I have talked to who has downloaded this game has had a lot of fun with this game. It's well worth the $1 to unlock the full game. It is definitely one of the most fun mobile games I have ever played, and I plan to keep it on my phone for quite some time. So if you want a Tecmo Bowl experience on the go with some depth and a solid franchise mode, check this one out. Again, that free download with the 5 games, you're either going to get hooked to where you want to spend the $1 and it's going to be no problem, or you're just going to put it aside and say, oh, that was cool or whatever, but it's not for me. Let me know what you guys think about Retro Bowl if you do indeed download it. This is not a paid advertisement at all. I just downloaded it because I was curious and fell in love with it. Ended up spending the $1 to unlock it, and I probably would have paid more than that, maybe $5, had I known how addicted I would become. It's just such an easy game to play, and it's one of those games where you just feel like you have to get one more game in to really be satisfied, and then next thing you know, it's 3 hours later. Until next time, I'm Lex, signing off.